This is Mark chapter 7 verse 24. And from thence he arose and went into the borders of Tyre and Sidon, and entered into an house, and would have no man know it, but he could not be hid. So he went in there surreptitiously, like secretively. He didn't even want to know, but he couldn't be hid because remember, the Lord's fame was known throughout the region. For a certain woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard of him, and came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. So we basically, everything that's here was written is going basically into the same thing we read in Matthew the 15th chapter. So I'm not gonna break it down again. I'm just gonna go into the whole thing about the Syro-Phoenician. Like what does that mean? Why would it say Canaan in Matthew 15, but then say Syro-Phoenician in Mark 7? So it says the woman was a Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by nation, and she besought him that he would cast forth the devil out of her daughter. So the woman was a Greek, right? A Syro-Phoenician by nation. First, let's deal with that word Syro-Phoenician. You have a word called neologism.
Neologism.
Neologism. One more time.
Neologism.
Neologism. Now, neo means new. Logi or logism, it look like the word what? Logos, which means like word. And in fact, let me do the word real quick. Make sure I got that correct. Here you go. Logos. The Greek word logos, traditionally meaning word, thought, principle, or speech. And you go right here to Britannica.com. It says logos, Greek word, reason, or plan. Plural logoi. So it means to reason or word or speech. So when it says neologism, neo meaning new, logo meaning speak or word, ism as a suffix meaning belief. So neologism is basically a newly coined word. Neo meaning new, logos meaning word, a newly coined word or expression. The coining or use of new words, or the belief in coining a new use of new words. Why I say belief? Because ism is a suffix meaning belief. What's the purpose of that? Because it says Syro-Phoenician woman. Syro is another way of saying Syria, or a new way of saying Syria. Hence the term neologism. It's a new way of saying Syria. So it says she was a Greek, a Syro-Phoenician by nation. What is Syro-Phoenicia? Syro-Phoenicia is talking about what? It's talking about when Phoenicia was a part of Syria, when Syria was a province of Rome. So she was called a Syro-Phoenician woman by nation. Syro meaning Syria, Phoenicia or Phoenician meaning Phoenicia. Phoenicia because Phoenicia was a part of the Roman province of Syro or Syria. So she's called Syro-Phoenician because Phoenicia was a part of the Roman province Syria. But where is Phoenicia located? In that same region of Tyre and Sidon, where the Lord was when he encountered that woman and her daughter. So Syro-Phoenicia. So Phoenicia and Canaan is really talking about the same place. But let's get another map. Here's another map. Phoenicia. It's in the same region. Same region. Let's get another map. Check this out. Sidon, Tyre, but this time what does it say? Syria, Roman province. So through all the maps we went, what did we see? We saw this area region being called Canaan. We saw this region here being called Canaan, and we also saw it being called Phoenicia. now it's being called Syria. So Phoenicia and Phoenicia and Canaan are both one and the same. But right here, the same region is being called Syria. Why is it being called Syria? Because this particular region was what? A part of the Roman province of Syria. So that's why she was called Syro-Phoenician. Syro, neologism, meaning new or new coined word or expression, which is Syria being newly called Syro. Phoenicia, because Phoenicia was a part of the Roman province of Syria. So she was a Syro-Phoenician woman. She was the Canaanite woman because she was from this region of Canaan. She was the Phoenician woman because she's from this region of Phoenicia. But she was called a Syro-Phoenician because Phoenicia was a part of the Roman province of Syria. Boom, there you go. Let's look at a map real quick. Here's a map. What do you see? Tyre, right here. See that? Tyre. You see how you see Tyre right here? And you see how it says Syria? Come on. And Gaza down here, back in that first map I showed you. If you pay attention, Gaza was right at the bottom. That was the first map that said Sidon that didn't have Tyre on it. Matter of fact, let me get it real quick. See? Same area. Sidon here. We know Tyre is right here. And Gaza. Let's go back. Same thing. Tyre, Gaza down there. So this is that same region. And it says Syria. But if you notice, it's orange, signifying the rule where the Antigenoid kingdom was. And Seleucus is over here, the Seleucid kingdom. But eventually, the Seleucid kingdom took down the Antigenoid kingdom, which means that map turns into this. That's why now you see this same region. See that? The green, it represents the Seleucid kingdom, and the blue represents what? The Antigenoid kingdom right here. Because eventually what happened? The Seleucid kingdom took down the Antigenoid kingdom, and that's how they got in power in this area here. And you see right here it says Antioch. This is Syria. Okay? Let's get that real quick. Check this out. Britannica.com. Antioch, Turkish Antakya, populous city of ancient Syria, and now a major town of south-central Turkey. That's all you need right there. So when you see Syria on that map, Antioch on that map, you're looking at Syria. And in time, what happened? It became what? A Roman province. This is Roman Syria. Roman Syria was an early Roman province annexed to the Roman Republic in 64 BC by Pompey in the Third Mithridatic War, following the defeat of King of Armenia Tigranes the Great. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. Following the partition of the Herodian kingdom of Judea into tetrarchies in 6 AD, it was gradually absorbed into Roman provinces, with Roman Syria annexing Etruria and Trachonitis, Provincia Syria. It says Syria was annexed to the Roman Republic in 64 BC when Pompey the Great deposed the last Seleucid king Antiochus XIII Asiaticus and had him executed. Pompey appointed Marcus Aemilius Scaurus to the post of proconsul of Syria. Following the fall of the Roman Republic and its transformation into the Roman Empire, Syria became a Roman imperial province governed by a legate. During the early empire, the Roman army in Syria accounted for 3 regions with auxiliaries who defended the border with Parthia. And legate means legatus, was a high-ranking Roman military officer in the Roman army, equivalent to a modern high-ranking general soldier. Initially used to delegate power, the term became formalized under Augustus as the officer in command of the legion. So it was governed by a Roman military officer in the Roman army. And it says Syria was annexed to the Roman Republic in 64 BC when Pompey disposed of the last Seleucid king, Antiochus the 13th, Asiaticus. And annex means append or add as an extra or subordinate part, especially to a document. So it was added, or it was a subordinate part, or add territory to one's own, add add to one's own territory by appropriation. So it became a part of the Roman Empire. Okay? Or rather was annexed to the Roman Republic, and when the fall of the Roman Republic came and it transformed into the Roman Empire, Syria became a imperial Roman province governed by a legate or governed by a Roman military officer. Okay? But why the name Phoenicia if it's called Canaan? Well, Phoenicia is an exonym. Exonym. Yep, exonym. A name used by foreigners for a place. So, and let's look at another definition. A name used by foreigners to refer to a people or social group that the group itself does not use. So, an exonym is a name used by foreigners for a place. Foreigners call this particular place a certain name. But it also says a name used by foreigners to refer to a people or social group that the group itself does not use. So, the term Phoenicia is an exonym. Foreigners use that name. Foreigners use that name to refer to a people or social group that the group itself does not use. So, the Greeks called this particular group of people, as well as the Romans, they called this particular group of people Phoenicians. They were foreigners that referred to that people or that social group as a particular name, but that particular social group that they were calling that name did not use that name in reference to their own selves. So why would they call them Phoenicia or Phoenicians? What does Phoenician mean? This is the word Phoenicians from the Phoenicians. This is from the metmuseum.org. It says see if I can find it quick. I'm gonna go right to the point. The name Phoenician used to describe these people in the first millennium BC is a Greek invention. See, they invented it from the word phoenix, possibly signifying the color purple, red, and perhaps an allusion to their production of a highly prized purple dye. Phoenicia, remember, it sounds like what the word phoenix, and the phoenix is like a reddish bird that rises from the ashes. Remember it said purple dye? Looking at Phoenicia on the map, and what do you see? Right here, it says purple dye. Sidon, Tyre, purple dye. These are some of the things that they had, some of the different materials that they possessed. Okay, so now we know why they called them Phoenicians. Now I just typed in what color is a phoenix, and what do you see? You see purple, reddish, orange-like colors. Even if you look at the jersey of the Phoenix Suns in the NBA, they have a purple jersey. They got an orange on their jersey. You know? So they have certain colors that's associated with a phoenix bird. Now what about the word Canaan? This is the word Canaan on Wikipedia. I'm gonna go right down to it. It says the name Canaan appears throughout the Bible where it corresponds to the Levant, in particular to the areas of the southern Levant that provide the main settings of the narratives of the Bible, the land of Israel, Philistia, and Phoenicia, among others. The word Canaanite serves as an ethnic catch-all term covering various indigenous populations, both settled and nomadic pastoral groups. So Canaanites refer to various indigenous populations. Where? Throughout the regions of the southern Levant or Canaan. So various groups in that region are known as Canaanites. It is by far the most frequently used ethnic term in the Bible. The book of Joshua includes Canaanites in the list of nations to exterminate, and scripture elsewhere portrays them as a group which the Israelites had annihilated. Biblical scholar Mark Smith notes that the archaeological data suggests that the Israelite culture largely overlapped with and derived from Canaanite culture. In short, Israelite culture was largely Canaanite in nature, which we could deal with that in another show. The name Canaanites is attested many centuries later as the endonym of the people later known to the ancient Greeks from circa 500 BC as Phoenicians. So it says the Canaanites is attested many centuries later, but you know we didn't get no laws from the Canaanites. It said it overlapped with Canaanite culture, though that's true because we had to slaughter them. We were living among them. Okay. But our culture wasn't Canaanite in nature, like we adopted their practices because the Lord told us not to. You know, there's many things the Lord told us not to do in regards to the Canaanites, but that's a whole nother lesson. It says the name Canaanites is attested in many countries later as the endonym of the people later known to the ancient Greeks from circa 500 BC as Phoenicians. What is an endonym? An endonym, inner name, also known as autonym, which exonym will mean outer name. That's why I said a foreign people would use that name to refer to a particular group of people. But that group of people would not use that name themselves. So in other words, they wasn't calling themselves Phoenicians. An endonym, inner name, also known as autonym, which auto means self, like automatic doors, self doors, or they open by themselves. An endonym, inner name, also known as autonym, is a common internal name for a geographical place, group of people, individual person, language, or dialect, meaning that it is used inside that particular place, group, or linguistic community in question. It is their self-designated name for themselves, their homeland, or their language. So they will call themselves Canaanites. And right here it says an exonym, outer name, and that goes into what we mentioned earlier. So with that, that's all I want. That's the point. I just wanted to give brother some insight on the word Canaan and Syro-Phoenician and all of that, and I just hope brothers learn something. And with that, I'ma close and I'ma say Shalom.